right, thanks guys. So yes, my topic here today is mate choice and search behavior in 2 online dating experiments. First, just a little bit of motivation, not to go into it too much because we are sort of tight on time. But first of all, why are we looking at search and mate preferences in this kind of experimental design? Well, it's an ideal setting to explore these key differences in optimal searching and choice behavior when the goal is to mutually match. Another thing I thought was there were problems with other dating sites with their data where like selection is actually not really a costly behavior in that sense. I mean, I'm looking at all you guys who constantly right swiping on Tinder and that sort of thing where there's actually just no cost involved. You can just keep going, right? Here we made an experiment where we basically introduced stakes, okay? So we have one option in this experiment. You select one profile, okay? So we also alleviate some of these problems from that, yeah, as I said, to choose one, and then also we time people on each profile, okay? So as they go through, we're timing them, and we use this metric, well, we use this as a metric for mate preferences, okay? So the longer someone stays on a page, there's more likely that they show preferences for that profile. So duration provides us with a proxy for mate preferences, and also it allows us to use time to event analysis to analyze the searching process itself, which is fairly new to this kind of mate choice literature. So what did we do? So we designed a custom purpose-built website that recreated a sequential style dating website, so similar to Tinder or that whatever your preference is for dating websites. We have 2 environments here, 2 searching environments. One where individuals could search forwards and backwards through other participants' profiles, and one where individuals can search forwards only through participants' profiles. Okay, so we can kind of look at how people choose based on this kind of different search method. So both these experiments are split into 2 24-hour periods called phases on those days. Phase 1 of the experiments. So in both years, participants were free to log in and out of the website as many times as they wished over the 24-hour period. Though if they did log out, they would go back to the start of the profile list. Okay, so this was a predetermined list, so we could control for that. On the first login, participants were also asked to answer a pre-experiment survey with a Big 5 personality tests and other ranking questions, like level of their perceived level of attractiveness and that sort of thing, and their preference for their ideal mate. So participants in both years would then search through the profiles and could at any time select that individual if they believed they'd found a suitable preferred match, okay? And that would lock them out of phase 1 for the duration. Phase 2 was then conducted a week later, where individuals could then choose from a selection of only the people that chose them in phase 1. So yeah, some people missed out. So individuals that made a selection in phase 2 were deemed a match, and they were given each other's contact information in the form of an email address. Post-experiment survey questions were emailed to the match pairs to see whether they had made contact beyond that email, and we found that 80% of the 30 participants who had actually matched had contacted that choice outside of that email. Unbeknownst to the participants, the user time, as I said, was the time users spend on a profile is being recorded. Here's a particularly dashing example of a profile. This was clearly pre-PhD photo, but this is kind of what they saw on the website. So with that, I try to answer these kind of objectives or questions. How do heterosexual individuals search for potential mates in this online dating market? Which characteristics are determinants of mate preferences? And can we learn anything about the differences between preferred and optimal mate choice? And as I said, we kind of use this elapsed or duration variable to actually try to answer these questions. So in our forward and backwards, which was 2013, we recorded 373 users all up. And in 2014, for the forward only, we had 1,085, each with obviously, the panel, we have like many searches as observations here. Some quick sort of just, I guess, preliminary kind of descriptive statistics. In F&B, so that's forward and backs, 87.13% of participants chose to select a profile, only 78.71% in forwards only. So that was a strong statistically significant difference in the selection rates between the two styles of search. In forwards and backs, after breaking up selection by the user's sex, we find that only 81.32% of females select a profile compared with 92.6% of males. Again, significant difference. In forwards only, after breaking up selection by the user's sex as well, we find similar results in that males' selection rates are significantly higher than females, so 81.47% and 76.43% respectively. The reduction in selection rates for males across the two searching styles is larger than the reduction in selection rates for females. Next, we do some OLS regressions with profile duration as the dependent variable. Okay, we have 7 specifications or models here that are all varied by sex and the search method, and some combinations of these. All models include the same independent variables of interest, and they include user attributes and profile attributes, so we can kind of see if there are any sort of effects for the user themselves or the participant or the profile that they're looking at, which would increase that duration dependent variable. So model 1, I do have a very ugly regression here that I'll be basing all this off, by the way. So model 1 shows no significant difference in the searching method for profile duration. So that gets rid of that. But models 1 to 3 indicate a significant sex difference, which with females displaying greater amounts of search time on profiles than males. Okay, so already we're starting to see that females are a little bit more selective in the self-reported attractiveness of profiles has a consistent positive effect on duration through each of the models, although the effect is greater for female profiles, indicating that male users spend more time on attractive female profiles than females on more attractive male profiles. It's very wordy, but user personality traits, they actually didn't really predict profile duration. We did Big Five, that sort of thing. But profile personality traits, which if you saw the example, those kind of things were visible on each profile. They did actually have quite a few significant results there. So we have a positive relationship on profile extroversion in model 6 and 7 that suggests that females spend more time viewing outgoing males, whereas the opposite is true for male users. So males actually prefer introverted female profiles. Similar effects also shown for those that are more stable, so score low on neuroticism. So you can take that as you will as well. Next, we do this ranked preferences analysis here, where I've calculated rank based on which profile received the longest duration by a user. So then I've normalized it as well, just to accommodate for different profiles that people have viewed. The vertical lines here, they indicate the mean and 95% confidence intervals for selection based on profiles ranked. So here you can basically see that for both search methods, males appear to be selecting further down their ranked preferences than females. Okay, so this blue box here, males are not picking the profile that they actually spent the longest on. Okay, but women or females tend to be actually picking those more higher duration profiles. Okay, so I've got some time to event modeling here. This looks at, so this is what I said before, this would be, this is why this is really interesting. We can use this kind of time to event modeling or survival analysis if you want to use that terminology. But here we look at selection as the event variable, where the time is the total duration that users spent on searching, okay? So before selecting. So basically at these points, it shows the number of people who have not selected a profile through time, okay? So here when there's no time, no one is selected. 100% of people have not selected. And here we can sort of see with the two different search processes how people select over time. Okay, so there's a statistically significant difference between these two searching methods here. Next, we break it down by the search method and sex. So here we can see, as I said before, females tend to be a little bit choosier in their selection. Okay, so they will spend longer time relative to men or through this kind of duration period. All right, I've got to finish up now, but this is basically an exponential pH model. That's a multivariate kind of survival analysis. We looked at user attributes here. So here we could see that females show significantly longer search behavior, longer search duration as age increases, Users that self-rate higher levels of attractiveness have longer search duration, and male users that have high levels of extroversion have lower search duration. So the experiment is novel that we're able to identify mate preferences through this sort of new proxy that we are using for preferences in duration. By only allowing users to select one profile, also the user is presented with opportunity costs, right? So if they pick one, they have to forego the second best and the third and fourth best option, okay? So there is a little bit more at stake here in that choice. I said, yes, choose someone who satisfies my preferences, but also choose someone that will more likely choose me back in the second phase, you know? I can't go with the person I really want to be with because they may not choose me back, right? So females tend to take longer in their selection compared with males, who expend less search effort and tend to favor physical attractiveness and youth, which is what we see in the literature. Anyway, thanks, guys.